My name is Noel Gordon, and I identify as queer, but also I think I would identify as gay depending on where I was or who I was talking to.
Sure. My name is Steve, and I would identify in the LGBTQA to Z community as just gay.
My coming out story, if there is one coming out story, is very similar to a lot of people. I grew up in a quasi-religious household, and so being gay was not something that was talked about. I saw a very one-dimensional portrayal of what it meant to be gay. I think my family came to suspect that I might be gay, and it wasn't until I got to the University of Michigan that I was in a safe enough space where I could kind of explore what it means to be gay and queer and black all at the same time.
It was fairly uneventful. My parents were surprised, but they were very accepting, and they had to readjust their expectation for how my life was going to go. But once they kind of got over that, which wasn't, it wasn't anger, it wasn't frustration, it was just kind of surprise. And with my friends, it was kind of similar. A couple who didn't believe me, but it's always interesting to hear about, when they came out, there was all this drama. It's always interesting to hear about, when they came out, there was all this drama.
I started to notice that there was, on the one hand, this sense of camaraderie among these people who identified as not heterosexual, who had come to experience that and live that, and but then they all happened to be white, and so they couldn't relate to me on experiences that I had dealing with sort of the racial discrimination and the racial oppression that I dealt with on a daily basis and continue to deal with. I also think that there's a lot of other issues that we don't really handle well, whether that's ability, whether that's class, whether that's really any intersection with queer identity. We don't do a really good job. And I think a lot of that is just the fact that for so long we've been oppressed around this one identity. It's, kind of difficult for us to then say, okay, well, we realize we've been oppressed in these various ways. Now let's start looking at the ways we're oppressing other people within our own community. So part of that, I think, is time. And so for me, it wasn't until I got to the University of Michigan that I realized this is a part of myself that I had to sort of deal with, and where I could work through the struggles of kind of trying to find a way to bring all of myself to the University of Michigan, which meant being a queer person of color. And
it was difficult, of course, to tell them, but it wasn't really a traumatic experience or anything. But yeah, nothing really changed, which is good. It's a boring story, but I kind of wish more people had such boring stories. So I am involved with the LGBT group at the Ross School of Business, which is called Ross Out for Business. I'm the director of admissions, which basically means means my name and contact information will be on the website.
I founded, along with another queer student of color named Zisheng Chen, an organization called RXS, which stands for the intersection of race and sexuality. And it's sort of in the mold of being an intra-group dialogue for queer and questioning students of color at the University of Michigan. And then from out of that grew the Coalition for Queer People of Color, which is more of an advocacy organization, which has sought to advocate for, increase the visibility of, and sort of realize the lived experiences of queer people of color at Michigan. And so through social, political, and other multicultural programming, we've been able to, I think, highlight the visibility of queer people of color. Another part of me that I hope I never lose is I always tell people that if I can do one thing with my life, it's to make people uncomfortable and to think critically about the ways in which they live their lives.
I think just being myself and being authentic to people that I meet, not hiding who I am, and when people don't quite understand or have questions, to be open and honest, and why are you gay, and any other questions that may seem obvious to us, but clearly are not to some of our straight counterparts.
And so if I'm able to do that in whatever I'm doing, then I will have done what it is I set out to do.